Here to talk to you about events that have recently happened at the Bell Hotel in Epping. Before I do that, I just want to set out some clear issues here. Who's important to Essex Police? The communities of Epping, the communities of Essex, and the right for everybody there to go about their business lawfully and peacefully, whether that's to express a view about something we agree with or disagree with. But what it's not about is allowing people to commit crime, to commit violence, or to disrupt those communities. So that's at the heart of the Essex Police operation. Importantly, we police according to the law, as it is, not as people would want it to be. So it is clear and factual that people in this country, and it's an important element in our democratic rights, that people can assemble peacefully and lawfully to express their views, whether we agree with them or not. And that's an important point and one of the objectives for Essex Police in this matter. I want to thank the people of Epping. I want to thank the people of Essex. I also want to thank all those who have turned up to protest and express their views peacefully and lawfully, because there have been many of those. I've seen the pictures, I've read the commentaries in the newspapers that have been made to many of you about people who feel firmly about an issue that concerns them and have expressed that well, peacefully, to make their views properly known. What has been unacceptable has been the people who have come to Epping and committed violence, who have attacked people who work at the hotel, who have attacked officers, who have damaged property, and who have caused fear and disruption to the people of Epping. That is not tolerable. It will not be tolerated. And to that end, we have made 10 arrests. A number of those people have been charged. A number of those people have been remanded in custody for serious offences. And my thanks go to the Crown Prosecution Service, who have assisted us in bringing those prosecutions. I also want to be clear that where people commit other crimes, and you will have noted that this issue started with a crime committed by a resident at the Bell Hotel, and where people in these residences commit crimes, we'll deal with that as well. And in that particular case, I want to stress and remind people that within 2 hours police responded, we arrested, we have charged, and we have remanded an individual for that alleged assault on a schoolgirl, and they remain awaiting trial. So we are being absolutely impartial, policing according to the law and making sure we enforce the law and try to protect communities. That is the approach that Essex Police will take. It's the approach Essex Police continues to take and will continue to take as further demonstrations, which we know are being advertised and discussed in the media for the coming week. I also want to be really clear. It is not for Essex Police to make a judgment about asylum or immigration policy. That is for government. It is for Essex Police and the police more generally to make sure that people can go about their rights and their business lawfully. Whether that's to be part of a community, the businesses of Epping, for example, the people of Essex, the school nearby, or indeed the people who are residents in that centre. It is not for me or my officers to try and make up policy or to be partial in the back of a police van. It is for us to enforce the law, to act within the law, and I think our actions and the bravery and the commitment of the officers, some of which have been injured, has shown that, and we will continue to do that. I also want to thank our partners, whether that's Epping Forest District Council and the many other partners from emergency services, the CPS and others, because whether it has been this asylum hotel or other asylum accommodation across Essex, and indeed I know this is the same for officers and forces across the country, we continue to work with the authorities, the Home Office and local partners to make sure that people can live their lives safely, that people are not harmed. That is our priority decision, to make sure that people do not get hurt and the crimes where they're committed are dealt with and they're prevented. So we continue to do that and will continue to do that, working with all the different communities, whoever they are. I also want to pick up an issue about information, and thank you. You are the responsible press. You've come here together to hear the facts from Essex Police about the policing operation. Okay, I would encourage people who are on social media or in the media to comment responsibly. And that's not me seeking to limit people's views, but to ensure that where people do make comments, those comments have real-world consequences. To the communities of Essex, which are at the forefront of our minds, to the officers and the staff that have to police these operations. And they do sometimes give licence to those who would seek to cause harm, to commit crime, and to hurt the very communities that the police and Essex Police seek to protect. So please, if you need information about this operation, the policing operation, speak to Essex Police. We will be clear in our commitment to give information, whether it's to the local community, working with our strategic coordinating group, our group of local partners who are working together to make sure we understand and listen and can deal with any of the issues from local people and businesses, or to us directly in policing about the policing operation. So please, disinformation is not me seeking to limit people's views. It is making sure that those things that are said do not undermine the safety of the people who are lawfully and peacefully protesting, for the people of Epping, and indeed the officers and the staff that are there as part of this operation. So going forward, we know there are a couple of protests that are advertised. We have a robust, and I stress robust, policing operation in place. You will have seen the arrests we've made, you'll have seen the footage about the officers, and I want to make it really, really clear. If you come to protest peacefully and lawfully, then we will allow people to do that. It is their democratic right, it is their legal right. If you come here and commit crime, we will deal with that robustly. Working with our partners, we will gather the evidence and we will bring prosecutions, because that is in nobody's interest, for people to get hurt or to limit people's freedom of speech through violence. The operation is clear. You will see that through the coming weeks, and I'll ask people to respect that. So in summary, can I just say, it's about communities. It's about protecting communities, whoever they are. It's about operating within the law. It's about dealing with facts and making sure that Essex Police does the job it needs to do, which is to prevent crime, reduce crime. And I want to stress that every single officer that is on this protest that has to deal with the thugs and vandals is an officer that is not otherwise protecting a community from a sex crime or a burglary or antisocial behaviour. So please, 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 again, my appeal to the people of Essex and particularly Epping, and anyone who comes to protest, please think about that. Keep within the law, help us to do our job, and make sure everyone can express their rights, their views safely and peacefully, because that's an important part of Essex Police. Thank you.
Chief Constable, one at a time. Can we get to the gentleman in the red tie? Thank you.
Charlie Peters, GB News. Your colleague Stuart Hooper said, in terms of bringing people to the hotel, the police have a duty to facilitate free assembly. The force initially said that they didn't bring anyone to the hotel, but your colleague seemed to suggest that that had happened after footage emerged. Can you set the record straight then? Was Stuart wrong when he said that?
Under the law of this country as it stands, people have the freedom to assembly and to freedom of speech.
So your officers did bring people towards that hotel?
Listen to my answer. That is there is a duty upon policing to allow people to exercise their rights of assembly and protest. That's a right of this country under the Human Rights Act. People came to that of their own volition. They walked up to that protest in order to ensure that we understand the threat, manage and deal with the risks and the issues. As we did outside the hotel, as we did in the high street, we had officers there and they would have walked alongside to make sure that they understand, can intervene and prevent and detect crime. That's what happened, that's what the photos show, and that's what we did.
Was there no thought about keeping the groups further away from each other? It's well known that these groups will confront each other and generate that hostility, which then leads to sparks of violence that has played out. Is that a regret from your force that you didn't keep them further apart? It's
not for me to comment and to try and criticise or indeed to examine that operation. We made 10 arrests. We have managed to ensure that those who are, as I said at the beginning, lawful and legitimate, were there peacefully protesting. And there were many of those, many more of those, and I want to stress that. They were able to do that, and that's our priority around making sure that they can do that. And where people stepped across that line, where they committed and broke the law, they were arrested, and the court records will show they have been charged and some remanded, and that's the position we take around that criminality.
Charlie, thank you.